Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Taimanin. Today we're gonna check how to play with Shisui. But before we start, don't forget to share, like and subscribe, as that helps the channel grow. Now then, on to Shisui's skills. To start with Shisui, we have to talk about the golden skill. This is kind of her signature skill and one of the most important ones in the game, as it allows you to autoplay the game. So you don't need to move, you don't need to do anything. You just put this skill and everything's gonna work out for dailies. For challenging content, this is not optimal. You can equip it, but it's better to not do so. Especially if it's on VR and you're not going to pilot this character. So, what does Power Engage do? It says the Guardian automatically uses equipped skills except Nature's Light. Okay? So yeah, why does this happen? Because Nature's Light is not a skill that comes from the Guardian itself. It's a skill that comes from Shisui. That's why. Probably. I mean, it's what I assume that's the case. Now, if you have one supporter, increases Shisui's damage by 10%. This doesn't really matter. Shisui is the character, but she isn't dealing damage at all. In fact, most of the damage comes from the Guardian, which counts as a summon. Okay, so if you have any kind of supporters that buff summons, then that's a good option, which are quite rare actually. There are around 4 characters that can summon things, but they weren't that good. In fact, the best was Sakura, but now we have Shisui, which is way better. Then, skill number 2 moves automatically to the next area when enemies are terminated. That's right, this is part of the reason. Not only the automatic use of skills, but also the auto movement to the next area. With this, you can just leave the controller be and, well, it's going to do the thing without you playing. It's great for farming. Now, number 3 increases Guardian damage by 20%. It's not a big number, but it is permanent, so that's fine. Now, let's pass on to the other skills. Starting with the all blue skill, Guardian's Flurry. So, this is going to make Guardian swing both arms and attack constantly, and Guardian is going to be on your back. So, maybe he moves a little bit further. As you can see at the end of the skill, maybe he's in front of you or just where you are. But that doesn't really matter too much. Then, with one blue, it increases damage by 10% for 10 seconds. That's good. And believe me, with blue, you can take advantage of this buff. With 2, it adds 4 additional attacks, which is pretty good, believe me. This is the main damaging skill, so you can take advantage of it. And with 3 blue, it increases critical damage by 250%. So, it is an excellent way to deal damage. And usually, this wouldn't be the case because of how limited the damage supporters are for blue. But there's a particular thing about this character, and it's the fact that it's a summon. The Guardian counts as a summon, and we do have a blue supporter which increases damage for summons. So with that in mind, it's very easy to have 3 supporters which increase your damage. Now, let's go on to the next one. Guardian's Charge. Guardian Charge, it is versatile to say the least. So, you dash and you attack. If you have the effects proc on the main supporter, if it's green, it's going to increase the defense by 10% for 10 seconds. If it's blue, increases damage by 10% for 10 seconds. If it's red, reduces the enemy's speed by 10% for 10 seconds. So, in some situations, you don't want to use this. It really depends on how you want to play. So, it is okay to use it, but also you can replace it with better options depending on what you're going to focus on. And this is probably very good for mixed builds, especially if you're going to use a blue supporter on the main, as it gives you damage. Or on green, as it gives you defense. The red option is not good on mixed builds for the most part. You rather use it on a pure red build. Now, here we have the launching skill. I don't know why it's here instead of as the first skill, but here we have the launch skill. As usual, it is not a good skill. As usual, it focuses on damage with all of the effects. And as usual, we're not going to use it. Why? Super armor, that's why. You cannot launch an enemy with super armor. Now, we have Guardian's Blow. Guardian blows summon Guardian's Hand from the ground and deals an area attack damage ahead. So the area of effect is kind of small. It's long if you have it full green, but it's only heading straight forward, only to the front. So that's not the best. And especially because this doesn't have damage increase. It only has a critical rate increase. So, with one green, knocks up enemies when Guardian attacks. This is okay for farming if you want to go with green, because it's an AoE. And enemies, standard enemies, waves of enemies, are going to be vulnerable to knock up. But for bosses, this is not going to be useful. Then set 2, increase the area of effect. That's fine. Fine, especially for farming. And then set 3, increases critical rate. So, yeah. For farming it's okay because you are going to crit, yes. And green has a bunch of supporters which increase the damage of critical attacks. So it does synergize with that color. But naturally it doesn't give you too much benefit. But yes, you're going to crit, but you can also do that by enchanting your weapon or by using supporters. So, yeah, well, it's always a thing, the critical. So among all the pure skill colors, I think this is the weakest, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just that it's better for farming instead of challenging content. Now, we have Guardian's Touchdown. This, again, it's an skill that procs after you get hit. I usually don't like that, but Shisui works well with this skill. She doesn't mind getting hit. Why? Because she gets a ton of defense from many skills. And this is one of them. This skill naturally knocks back enemies and increases defense for 8 seconds. Okay? So the golem is going to teleport behind you and it's going to knock back enemies. That's super good. Then, on 2 green, increases defense by an additional 15%. Good. I mean, I can accept a further damage reduction. Then we have 2 blue. Increases the skill duration by 2 seconds. Not too bad. I mean, the more the skill lasts, the more you're going to take advantage of that defense. And then we have the set for 2 red. Decreases the cooldown, the skill cooldown by 2 seconds. I mean, it's kind of the same as blue, but different, I guess. I don't know why they did that. I mean, it's good because you have your damage dealing your skill cooldown reduce, and that means that you're going to attack more often, so you deal damage more often. So yeah, I guess it's technically better than blue. Technically, because you also are going to do the attack. So yeah, I mean, there's not much difference between the two of them. It's just to have the option in red and blue. But definitely the biggest, the most useful one, I would say it's green, because you have more damage reduction. Then we have the all red one, and as you can see, all the previous attacks were melee, except for the basic enhancer. And this one is going to be range with melee. Performs an area attack by detonating light energy. So yeah, it's going to slap the floor. Yeah, she's going to slap, the golem is going to slap the floor, and that's going to generate an explosion or a wave. With one red increases the area of effect, and it is a very decent area of effect. Believe me, it's big. Then with 2 increase the number of attacks. Yeah, it's gonna do shockwaves, and with 3 increases the skill damage by 150%. So this skill is probably the best one you can use for farming. Okay, along with Guardian's Touchdown. So Guardian Touchdown is going to knock back any enemies who come near. It's going to give you defense, and this is going to also deal damage around to all the enemies. These are excellent for farming, and it's also good. Lightning Explosion is also good for challenging content, yes, because of the damage increase. Especially if there are many enemies. If there's just one enemy, well, it's also good because of the damage it provides and the multi-hit. Now, Arrowing Light. This is the three set skill. So that means that you need 3 supporters of the same color to activate it. This is range. You're going to do the finger gun for some reason. It says perform an area attack that fires 3 consecutive light energies beams in a row. Adds 2 additional attacks when slot effect is applied. So this is important because Guardian is not going to be teleported next to you. Guardian is going to shoot wherever he is. And that means you're going to do some kind of cross attack, which is pretty good. You would think, oh, well, it's only in front of you. Not exactly. It's going to be kind of a cross. It's wherever Guardian is and wherever you are. You're going to point at the enemy and you're going to do a cross attack. So it is pretty good. In fact, I would say this is one of Shisui's main skills, and that's why she likes to be to play with a single color. But she certainly can play mix, and we're gonna see that at the very end. So then we have the effects: increase defense by 20% for 10 seconds. Increase damage with green, increase defense. With blue, increase damage by 20% for 10 seconds. Kind of the same numbers, but this is defense, this is damage. And the last one, reduce the enemy's speed by 20% for 10 seconds. Yeah, all have the same duration and percentage, but green defense, blue damage, and red enemy speed reduction. All of these effects are good. But definitely the one that people are going to overlook is red, which isn't bad, believe me. But it's better to have defense or damage. Now, we have Nader's Light. After an extreme dodge, you're going to draw energy from the ground and heal over time for 4 seconds. So, yeah, this is excellent. It is only for herself, unlike Emily's or Shizuru's Healing Field and Garden. But, it doesn't really matter. She's going to be the tank of your team on challenging content. And this is going to be a nice way of recovering on normal content. So, with 2 green, increases HP restoration amount by 75%. That's big, and it's definitely worth it. With 2 blue, decreases the delay of HP restoration by 40%, so it's gonna restore HP quicker, which means it's gonna restore more HP. And with 2, increases speed by 20% for 10 seconds. So I guess this is a buff. I mean, it doesn't say that it increases the restoration speed. So it's definitely a buff for yourself. Which, the thing is, the one who's going to take advantage of the boss is going to be the golem rather than you, because your basic attacks are not going to deal that much damage. But you can use it to just burst very quickly your basic attacks and then get out of there. Let's see. The last one is going to be Bombs Away. Bombs Away, I don't like the animation. It takes too long. It is not a bad attack and it doesn't have bad effects, but the animation really... I don't like it because of that. So, performs a falling attack by jumping off the Guardian from high up. Yeah, as you can see, Guardian, you get onto Guardian, then he elevates, and then you jump from there, doing a kick. So, with 2 green, you're going to decrease the enemy's defense by 20% for 10 seconds. With 2 blue, increases damage by 20% for 10 seconds. And with 2 red, increases damage by 20% for 10 seconds. So, wait a moment. Decrease enemy's defense with green. Increase damage by 20 with blue. Increase defense with red. So, this is convoluted. The best one is actually blue. Because on green, usually you want to play defensive. But if you want to play offensive, it is okay to go green with this, because you're gonna deal more damage. And with red, yeah, red is, weird. Red either wants to play control or damage. It doesn't want to play defensive. There are 2 supporters for defensive red builds, but, no. There are better defensive options on the other colors, on green and blue. So, yeah, try not to use this on red. Now then, let's start with the builds. I'm gonna be using full anti-demon. This is also anti-demon, but remember, we're not gonna get the benefit of this one. Also, this doesn't get the benefit. I only get the benefit here on the main weapon. I have this 5/5 plus 13 enhancement. And this one is going to be 2/5, 2 out of 5. For the most part, we're not going to receive the benefit of this skill because I only have one build that uses Light of Explosion. And the damage increase, the passive damage increase is kind of going to compensate for my lack of copies. So imagine this is 5/5 maybe. I'm not too sure how it would look. I don't have too many weapons on Shisui, as you can see. Those are the only 2 I have. And I have the other rarities, the lower rarities, but I'm not going to use them. So, yeah. This is going to be the weapon and Magatamas always, for all sets. And now, we're going to go with green defensive. As you can see, I'm going to use Arrowing Light, which is going to give me defense. I'm going to use Guardian's Touchdown, which is going to give me defense and extra defense. And I'm going to use Nature's Light, which is going to restore my HP. So I don't have too much damage. Yes, that's right. But who cares? I'm going to last. In fact, you're going to see that they're not going to do any damage. And look at this. Only one supporter has enchantment, and it's enchantment level 10. So I'm going to use Nanami, Shinonome Nanami. Nanami, okay. So increase HP restoration from all sources. Shisui Natural has HP restoration and drops more potions. Yeah, that doesn't really matter. Remove 3 debuffs, immediately restore HP. So it's another way of HP restoration. That's why I have her here. I think it's better than the other actives. I mean, this active is not negligible, but I'm not going to use it. Sorry, my macro. So, Onisaki Kirara, this is limited. This is the character release limited supporter. So, reduces damage taken from all enemies by 18%, kind of 20%, and increases HP restoration from all sources by 12%. This is good because it has two effects that synergize with Shisui's gameplay. And then we have Anya Winchester, which is an F2P supporter. My Onisaki Kirara is only 2 copies, so it's not that bad. You can substitute it with other things, and we're gonna see in a moment. But let's go with Anya Winchester. Anya Winchester is going to increase the damage reduction from machine characters, and Shisui is a machine and suppress type character. So what you can use instead of Kirara, because these two are F2Ps, but this is limited. So you can use the founding 3, yes, super easy pick. You can use, what else? You can use Hisui, yes, if you want. That's an option. There's also other defensive supporters. Let's see. You can use Yuno if you want, that's fine. Even though I don't like Yuno with Hisui. Then we have Suzuka. Suzuka is not bad. I mean, you can. Then we have another limited, Punisher Yukikase. This is gonna reduce damage from humans by a very noticeable amount, a 40% damage reduction. Let's see. Here on top we have this one. Consume 10% of particles every 10 seconds to restore mass HP of yourself and allied characters by 6%. So it's another form of HP regen if you want. It is not bad. We have this, but I don't recommend it because Shisui is not human, so she's not gonna get most of the benefits here. Increase healing effects on human type allies. So if you want to function as some kind of ambulance on VR, you can use it, but it gets outperformed by this. Now, very quickly, if we want to tackle VR, you're going to be using Misaki on the main. You're going to be using Hisui. You're going to be using Homare Now. Let's say that you don't have Homare Now or Hisui. Well, I haven't mentioned this, but you can use Yuna. Yanagi Yuna is one of the best supporters for VR in an F2P way. It's basically Hisui, but it's just F2P. If you got her on the event, then it's gonna be super easy to tank on VR. So yeah, those are the 4 supporters that you want to use, and you definitely want Misaki at the very beginning to have a way of to recover HP other than Nature's Gift. So let's test this out. It's gonna be super easy. I don't deal too much damage. It's gonna take a while, yes, because I don't have any damage supporters, and with damage she's not like insanely fast, but she does so much damage that she can finish quickly. But this is not going to be the case. So defense. So yeah, a ton of defense, as you can see. So they are not dealing damage, and I am. And whatever damage they deal, I'm going to restore it with Nature's Gift or Nature's Life. I don't remember the name, but yeah. Just like that. It's gonna take a while, guys. But it is a very safe option. And it's especially good if you want to use her as a taunter. I mentioned the Taunter strategy on my video on VR for machines. So yeah, it is definitely a good option. She has just the right amount of HP recovery. And defense is busted, believe me. Among all the traits, yeah, attack is better because you finish the stage quickly. But on more challenging content, defense is vital. Just necessary. So yeah, as you can see, this is gonna take a long time, especially because of the bosses. And they are not doing anything. Not at all. Look at that HP recovery. I recover more HP that they are able to deal damage. God. Poor things. And it's just the bait. I'm not using the the supporter. Well, I'm going to use the ulti because usually I don't. But I just want this to finish. Yeah. Okay. Just one more. Yeah, the ulti was good. Okay. Nice. So, saved. Save. Super save. There's nothing more safe than this build. And I mean, yes, there are better things, defensively speaking, but just going full green, it's awesome. But let's say that you don't want to go full green, you want to go mixed defensive. In that case, you're not going to use Arrow Light, and instead you're going to use, let's see, Guardian's Charge. Yes, Guardian Charge with main green. In case you want to go with 2 green and 1 blue or 1 red. Now, let's go to the next one. Oh, okay, I have to do another one. Shisui is so complex, so versatile, so incredible that I don't have enough space for all the builds that I that I prepare for her. So yeah, we're gonna go critical now. As usual, critical is kind of a really good and easy way to play any character. So, Kowaru, Akane, and of course Suruga. Suruga, where are you? Here. So this is gonna give me a lot of critical damage overall, and critical rate. And healing. I'm going to drop Nature's Light. And I'm going to put Bombs Away, which is going to take away my Arrow's Light, but I'm going to use which one? You can keep Nature's Light, but I'm going to use Guardian's Charge because it's another attack, okay? So I'm gonna focus on dealing damage. Guardian's Touchdown, Bombs Away, and Guardian's Charge with full critical. Now let's test that. Let's test that super quickly. This is gonna be faster, but even so, it is not the best build and the one with the most damage. It's just, if you already have the critical option, you can go for it if you are not prepared for the other builds. So yeah, as you can see, it deals a huge amount of damage, and as usual, most of the damage comes from the Guardian. That's kind of the semi disadvantage of Hisui, that you have to rely on the skills and Guardian to deal most of your damage. Yeah, wow, the damage. So easy peasy. Yeah, they are just too weak for this. And one important thing when using Bombs Away, it is just like any other skill that have long animations. It's super vulnerable to getting interrupted, okay? So keep that in mind. That was fast, very fast compared to the defensive strategy with green. Now we're gonna go blue And we're gonna start with blue damage, okay? For blue damage, I have something very particular here. So, what skills are good for blue damage? Guardian's Flurry, as you can see. We're also going to use Arrow Slide to increase damage, and Guardian's Charge to increase damage. You could also, super important, now that we are here, you can use Arrowing Light and Guardian's Charge, but you cannot use Arrowing Light and Bombs Away. You're going to be able to select only one of them. So that's a thing to consider. They use the same command, double evade. So I have 2 damage increase, 3 damage increase, and a critical damage increase. Why does it matter? I mean, it matters because you get more damage, but that's not the only thing. Blue has a really good supporter for this, which is Kana. Kana is going to increase the damage you deal with each buff. So that's gonna be 4 buffs with 3 skills. Okay? If you have the fourth slot, you can equip whatever else that gives you a buff like Nature's Light, and you're gonna have even more damage. And I put Kana on the main because she is going to give me a buff that increases the speed. Okay? And she also gives damage reduction. So that's amazing. That's super good. Usually, there are few options that you can use to get damage with blue. But this is a good option. Now, let's see. You can use the classic 3, the big 3, for damage against specific traits. You can use Arabella if you're facing a stage with only a boss, okay? Or bosses. But if there are waves of enemies, then that's the point when we start to see that we don't have too many options. You would want one of the big 3, but I don't have enough copies of Onigumo, so I can't use her. So instead, I use a substitute in Uraru. Uraru is going to give generic damage to machine type characters, which is great. Other than that, there's not too many options, guys. I mean, there are these, but they don't give you enough damage. And there's also Maika, and even though Shisui can deal some debuffs, she has just like one build that specializes on debuffs. So you're not going to use Maika here. So yeah, that's the problem. But fortunately, we do have Sakura. This we received for free, and I kind of didn't get all the copies. I got some of the copies, just like it's gonna happen with this one. I'm not gonna get the copy on Desire. I mean, I did get the copy on, what's the name? On the pack, but not the one on Desire, because I don't have Desire. So yeah. Besides, we're gonna receive another limited supporter, probably a rerun for a limited supporter soon. So yeah, not gonna get that. Then Sakura. For Sakura, this reduces damage taken from all ally enemies by 26%. I guess. Wait a moment. 1 second. I guess that it's 30. Yeah, 30% once it's maxed out. And it increases damage dealt by familiars, and the golem is a familiar. This is amazing. It is kind of now, but Homari now, but different with blue. It is not exactly the same numbers, but 30% and 40%, that's awesome. Okay. And this is kind of a staple for Shisui if you want to go mix or blue. So yeah, usually you would be having troubles with the blue damage, but specifically for Shisui, she has this combo which works super well. Remember, Arabella, the big three, those are good options if you want to, but I'm gonna go with this. So yeah, let's test that out. Guardian's Flurry again, Guardian's Charge, and Arrowing Light. 3 damage increase and a critical rate up. No, critical damage up. So, this is gonna deal a decent amount of damage. It might deal even more damage than the green build, and you're gonna see that in a moment. So, yeah, pretty easy. And now my basic attacks actually deal good damage. Well, not good damage, but not like super wet noodle damage, you know? There we go. So I'm just going to wait a little bit. I didn't use the blue skill. And now... what's the... Oh, that explains. It's the wrong command. Here. And I didn't use this. I didn't use the active. But the active would also give me more damage. So yeah, I didn't do that properly. You're supposed to do the... Because I usually don't play with Shisui. Because I just use her on auto mode. But you're supposed to do Arrowing Light, Guardian Charge. Why Arrowing Light first? Because it takes more time to perform this attack. Guardian Charge is super fast on its animation. So you do Arrowing Light, Guardian Charge. Then you use the active of the supporter. And finally you use Guardian's Flurry. That's the combo. And it's going to deal a huge amount of damage. Yeah. Now, let's go with this one. This is a defensive blue. It has... I'm going to use Power Engage. This is just to show you how busted this is. Most people just play Shisui as with Power Engage and that's it. That's the only thing you need. And of course, whatever skills. But I'm going to leave it without touching most of the battle. I'm only going to evade when we have the bosses, but I'm not going to do anything. We're going to use Guardian's Charge here to get a damage increase and Guardian's Touchdown to get an increase skill duration. Increase skill duration. I guess that means the defense buff. Yeah. So I'm gonna get this just cause. I mean, damage reduction and HP recovery on the active. A little bit of damage and damage reduction. Well, a little bit. It's a good amount of damage. And HP recovery. As you can see, I'm not using Nader's Light because I have enough HP recovery with all of these supporters. So, I'm not going to do anything at the very beginning. And I'm going to only move on when the bosses arrive. Okay? Just so that you can see how good this is. And the HP recovery is amazing just by evading. So yeah. I mean, thanks to the damage increase, this deals good damage. Both damage increases, and thanks to the defense up, I mean, they don't deal enough damage to beat me. Yeah, that's it. It just auto plays. This is not the best for auto farming. The best is gonna be red because of the AoE, but this is just to showcase auto mode on challenging content. This is supposed to be challenging content, yes, but it's kind of outdated. We need more floors of tower and more challenging content. But I am supposed to bait now, right? I forgot. I'm going to use the active just to get a little bit of HP. Yeah, I'm going to evade too. Just to... because she is kind of slow now that I notice. So yeah, I mean, golem do thing and that's it. Yep. Why bother too many buttons? Okay. Just evade. God. This golem is busted. One more thing, now that I think about it, I am using Shisui on level 83, I think. I have enough gems to... let's check. Yeah. I have enough gems to level her up. And I have... I can get the tokens whenever I want, as usual. But I am saving it for the pack. So yeah, this is her level. So she isn't even maxed out. Now let's go with let's see, red. Yeah, we're gonna go with red. Wait a moment, I have to check. Yeah, I still have time because I have to work in a moment. But there are so many builds, so I need to hurry up. So red. What's gonna happen with this red? As you can imagine, because of the supporters, we're gonna play control. This you can use on BR, on the slow strategy. It is another great option. So, what's going to happen here is that I'm going to use Guardian Charge, which reduces the enemy's speed. I'm gonna use Arrowing Light, which reduces the enemy's speed. And I'm gonna use Nature's Light to get a speed increase. I'm not even going to use the good skill, Light of Explosion, or any other damaging skill. No, I'm just gonna go with this. And you're gonna see that that's more than enough. The control it provides is super great. So here we're using Holy Knight Kirara to get extra damage, HP recovery, and this is important, Onisaki Kirara is not half bad to have as a main supporter if you're going to be fighting waves of enemies, because whenever you kill an enemy, it's going to do a freeze attack that is going to freeze nearby enemies. And the next time you hit them, they're going to receive extra damage. And you have here on the active also a speed increase on an area, which is pretty good. HP recovery, damage, it has a bunch of effects. It's super, super great. Usually we only use the damage up and the HP recovery because we put it on the main because we're fighting, I don't know, PR. But it's also good for dailies. Then this is limited, unfortunately. It's Indomitable Fumatokiko. This is gonna increase. This is gonna increase my basic attack damage. I guess that also works for Golem. I hope it does. But the important thing is the speed reduction, as usual. We abuse speed reduction. And we're gonna use also Susune. Susune could be the main, but I prefer the other set of passives that Onisaki Kirara provides. So another damage increase against debuffed enemies. You're gonna see that these deals a respectable amount of damage for the control it provides. So let's see how that looks. So yeah, I do this and a ton of control. They are not hitting. I constantly freeze them. Poor things. They just can't do anything. Look at that. I constantly get to control them. Oops, bad positioning. The amount of damage that I deal. God. Yeah, Shisui is kind of one of the most complex characters because she can do so many things. God. Yeah. Control on Isaki Kirara. I just charge, I just attack, and deleted. The speed, god. Yeah, that was good. But now it's time to check her best red build. So this is fun and it's good for VR. It's viable for VR because of the control you have here. But you can also do other things. So for skills, I don't want, or do I? Maybe I do. Near light. Guardian charge I'm going to drop in favor of light of explosion. And bombs away, no, but I'm going to use this one. So yeah, I'm gonna keep Nature's Light just to have HP recovery because I don't have any kind of control now. And also to increase the speed. This is gonna be awesome. So, what supporters you want to use? You want to use supporters which provide damage here. Obviously, you're gonna use Homura, Rinka. Rinka is not the best option depending on the kind of skills that you use because, for example, we have light of explosion, which is range. So yeah, instead of going with that, go for generic damage. Another thing, for the previous build, you can use this one. This is super good. It gives damage reduction and also a damage buff. There are other options for supporters which synergize with debuffs. But here, on pure damage, what you can use is you can go with Momochi Nagi. You can go with, let's see, you can go with Baretta. You can go with Stella. We're gonna use actually, yes, White Feather Asuka. That's one of them. And on the main, depending on what you have, you can use New Year Mizuki Shiranui or the limited supporter Gear Shisui. Okay? I'm gonna use Gear Shisui. But limited Shiranui is also fine. Now for the last skill, since I'm not using any kind of control, I'm not going to be using the Susune or Christmas Kirara. Instead, I'm going to be using this one. Yukina for generic damage, but you can change it for Stella if you want. I mean, if your Stella is better than your Yukina, or you don't have Yukina. So yeah. The main thing about this is that you're gonna deal a lot of damage and you have some HP recovery just in case. And you have a lot of speed, so yeah, this is gonna be busted. As I told you, this is the best build you can do for the auto. You can just, depending on the kind of content, you can just take out the HP recovery and go with the engage mode, with the basic enhancer, to have the auto mode activated. And yeah, well, I'm just doing basics right now, but let's see how these skills look. And that just cleared almost every enemy. Yeah, it looks like it's not that much damage because I don't have all the buffs from blue. But now oh, come on, let me. As you can see, the best thing about this build for farming is that you have two strong AoE attacks. That's what really matters about this build. Maybe it doesn't deal the most damage, but it deals the most damage to all enemies. Uh, with blue, you're going to attack in front of you. With green, the same. You're going to attack in front of you. But with red, you're going to attack. You have two attacks that hit all targets around you. So that's a good thing about this red build. Now, I had to sacrifice my farming slot, but it doesn't really matter, to do this. I have two more builds. Oh my god, it is too much. So super fast because I had to do something else. So we're gonna go with a mixture of blue and red. One red only. I mean, I decided to do this to get a little bit of HP recovery and the damage. But you can go with whatever you want of red. Maybe you want to go with White Feather Asuka because it gives a good amount of damage. Maybe you want to use Yuki now, okay? So what skills am I going to use? I'm going to use these skills. Guardian Charge for the damage increase. Then I'm going to use Guardian Touchdown for the defense increase and also Bombs Away for the damage increase. We do not use Arrowing Light on mixed builds, even though it would be good. It's not going to proc the effect because of that. And with these two, it is also good that they use the same command in this case because you can use these instead to get the damage increase with blue. So yeah. This is kind of like if you don't have something, a good blue supporter just to fill the trio, then you can use a supporter from other color just to increase your damage. Whatever generic damage you have, even Stella could work, or Homura. So yeah, let's test this out. It's gonna deal a respectable amount of damage. It is not maybe the best, but it works out. And besides, you are activating both damage increase. So as you can see, it's pretty good. Yeah. Easy. Okay. My god, the amount of builds you can do with this character. Okay, I'm going to use the active just because I am getting low HP, but look at the damage. Come on, just let me finish. There. Yeah, that was close. This is better for something easier because of the amount of damage you deal, but the lack of HP recovery. So yeah, maybe don't try to use this on challenging content. And the last one is gonna be this one. Those work on challenging content. It's another mixed build. And let me check. We're gonna use Magical Girl Sakura on the main. Then we're gonna use green damage. So I tried critical last time, but I used Akane and Kawaru. This time is gonna be different. We're gonna use Kawaru and we're gonna use who? Suruga. Why? Because my weapon is not on the right S level. It's only S2, which means it doesn't get that much critical damage or critical chance. So yeah, I do need the critical chance increase, the critical rate. And we're gonna use this. We're gonna use Guardian Touchdown, Guardian Charge, and not Bombs Away, but rather Nature's Light. With this, I'm gonna have HP recovery. I'm gonna have damage increase, and I'm gonna have a defense increase. So it is kind of a generalistic build that you can use. Super good. It would be great if we could put Power Engage here, but we don't have enough slots for this one. So yeah, it's not on auto mode, unless you're using the Heavy Shika pack. Super quickly, So this is gonna be easy. As you can see, it deals a ton of damage. Just the tackle was amazing. So yeah, having both defense, no, the three of them, defense, HP recovery, and an attack buff makes this build super consistent for most content. So BR maybe it's not the best because you don't have enough defense depending on the step you're facing. But if you're on 20, I think it would be good enough. Let's see. Come on, let me just tackle. And it's done. Kinda. Oh, I wasn't even able to tackle the last time. Okay, good. So, very quickly, just to finish, let's check her weapons. But we're gonna go to the collection section for this one. Not supporters, weapons. So, Shisui, where are your weapons? Here. We have the pack weapon, which is terrible as usual. It's the one that reduces damage taken for 20 seconds. Limited duration? Why would you do that? Shiranui's is better. And it's not Shiranui's pack weapon, but rather her unique weapon. Her first unique weapon. Where is she? I don't even remember, but Shiranui's weapon gives her damage reduction. Permanent damage reduction once you're fully charged. So yeah, let's see. Other than that, we have. Where were we? I lost them. Here they are. We have the other weapon, the whale weapon, Blooming Knight, increases damage dealt to stunned enemy or groggy enemies. Yeah, we're not gonna even analyze this one. Nobody has this. Silver Paladin, yeah, reduces damage from all enemies by 15%. Awesome! Another defensive tool. That's super great. If you want to play a tank build, it is pretty good. So it also deals damage and stuns the enemies. Doesn't really matter. The passive is what makes this great. It's simple yet effective. And where is the Momochi? We have the arena weapons. You already know the arena weapons. They're kind of like a placeholder most of the times. But on green is super good because she's very good on PvP. Defense is busted on PvP. So maybe you want to get the green weapon instead of the red weapon like myself. I just like the color and I don't play PvP, so that's why I did. Now, the Momochi weapon is, as usual, whatever. She doesn't... Well, she can crit with blue and green. And, I mean, if you build her to crit, she's gonna crit. But I wouldn't say that this is the best weapon for her, especially because she doesn't focus on crit on most of her skills. And she attacks very slowly. She has like 2 ways to attack, so she can crit with both of them and she can keep the active, but she isn't. Well, she can be fast if you use the buffs, the speed buffs, but depending on what you're tackling and the crit rate that you have, you may not proc this enough. Let's see. This one is going to be. Oopsie, it's almost time to go. So, increase normal attack damage, which is not good, and increase damage of familiar by 20%. I mean, you can if you don't have anything better. If you don't have a UR, I mean, it's not bad. You just saw the limited. Let's go to the limited. The limited is going to when using the skill Light of Explosion, it pulls enemies in towards the Guardian. So it's like a gravity zone, similar to Rinko's. And this is gonna make it easier for you to hit the enemy. It also, each successful hit increases speed by 3% for 5 seconds, stacks up to 3 times. So it can be up to 6%. So the maximum amount that you get is 18% more speed. So it's just pretty good. And also increases damage of familiar by 22%, which is great. Okay, most of the damage comes from the familiar. So yeah, you want this one, if possible. So just to finish my thoughts on Shisui. She's very good for challenging content, for PvP, for dailies, whatever you want to put her to do, she's gonna do pretty well. But, this I do not recommend that you get first. Get Emily first, and the reason being because of the amounts of hit that Emily does. It is easier to get the combos, the combo missions to get crystals on story mode, on on event quest with Emily, and she's also an auto farmer. And besides, Emily is easier to build for a new player than Shisui. Shisui does require very specific supporters like Magical Girl Sakura, like I don't know. For the red control, we need the limited Tokiko, Onisaki Kirara, which is also limited, and they're not gonna do a rerun this year. They're only going to rerun the pack. So yeah, there's a bunch of things that you need for Hisui. So better go with Emily first, and then you buy Shisui. So that's gonna be it for today, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye!